Okay, good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or yes there, just to let me know that it is indeed working. Hope everybody's doing well today. Just want to welcome everybody here. Also want to give a shout out to everybody that's new to the program. If you are new, let us know in the chat box. Just give it, just let us know where you're from, what state or what country you're from, so we can welcome you here. I also just want to give a shout out to those watching this in the recording. If you're watching this on the calendar or on YouTube, just want to welcome you here and feel free to ask any questions you guys have in the comment section down below. If you're here live, feel free to ask those questions in the chat box function. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Before we get into live trading and instruction for today, as always, I need to remind you about the risks involved in this market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how many pips you're risking on each trade, in addition to how big your lot size is, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time that you take a trade. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and update our COT trades. It's been a pretty wild and awesome, mostly awesome set of COT trades that we've had this week. Yesterday, if you guys recall, we were only up 7 pips across every trade. So the markets really started off slowly. The last I checked, we were doing really, really good. So let's go ahead and pull these up. Saw a lot of improvement last night. So let's go ahead and pull these up here. Yeah, so let's start with square one. So with the pound yen, which is funny because I think this is our worst trade. No, it's not our worst. And it's funny because it's up 105 pips now. It was down 36 yesterday. Now it's up 105. The pound dollar is currently up 128 pips from being down 11 pips yesterday. Currently, the New Zealand dollar was up 14 yesterday. Now it's up 52. The Kiwi dollar was up 16 yesterday. Now it's up 62. The Euro yen was up 6 yesterday. Now it's up 105. The Euro dollar was up 18 yesterday, and it's up 120. So right now, as it sits, we have 572 pips unrealized on the week so far, which is really, really good. Really, really good. And just a key reminder is to hold on to these trades, guys. Sometimes when you see those kinds of profits come in, for some of you, this may be the first time you've ever held a trade even past a single day, and now we're 3 days into these trades. And it's pretty exciting because you've got, multiple trades, at least 4 here that are up over 100 pips each, which is awesome. But keep in mind, sometimes these trades can go 2, 3, 400 pips a piece, not just a single trade. And I'm not saying that will happen by Friday, but it's imperative that you do hold on, because some weeks just wind up being so impressive that you need those profits, because we're going to have losing weeks, right? In fact, we've had a winning period for a while. I know last week's results were a little bit mixed, depending on when you got in. Um, some people made money, some people lost a little bit of money. The week before that was indeed profitable at 410 pips. The week before that was plus 368, and the week before that was only a minus 12. So we really haven't experienced a loss until about middle of July, at least a significant one. And that was a very significant loss we had back in July. At the same time, though, if you go back to June, obviously those profits in June were pretty much insane and super awesome. And we're getting into a good, solid momentum right now with the COT report. So these are the types of weeks. If you guys recall that week where, I'm not saying this will happen, but if you guys recall that week back in June where we made this right here, the 1286, we were up about this amount, the five or six, we're up almost 600 pips so far on the week. We were up about this amount midweek. So I'm not saying it's going to turn into a plus 1,000 pip week where you get 1,200 pips or 1,300 or whatever it be. But it could happen. And so the tragedy would be is if you could have made 1,200 pips and you only made 500 or 600. Okay. And you do need those profits, okay? You do need them, as you know, if you've traded the strategy long enough, we don't do this every week. There are indeed losing weeks. You heard it here, it's on recording. There are losing weeks, okay? Usually I have to kind of settle everybody down a little bit, including myself, when we're doing really, really well, just because we got to keep our head on straight, right? Because sometimes, I mean, just because we're doing really well right now, I mean, it's expected. Like we're gonna have really good weeks with this strategy, but you're gonna have losing weeks, and so it's really, really important to let your trades go. And some weeks you're gonna be like, dang, I wish I had closed early. And then there's going to be a lot of weeks where if you had closed your trades on Tuesday or Wednesday and you found out later that like Friday you would have made double or triple that, that really hurts. But it, let's put it this way. I've noticed though with traders, we don't seem to punish ourselves very much if we close a winning trade. It doesn't work that way. Like our mind doesn't allow us to just punish ourselves if we close a winning trade. But we have to do that like forcefully, okay? Because and I say that because if you close out a winning trade that could have made double that, in my book, you lost however, like if these trades wind up making 1,200 pips this week and you closed for plus 600, you didn't make 600, you lost 600 pips this week. Okay, I just want to make sure that's very clear. So please, please, please hold the trades because I've seen that happen. Here's what happens to these folks. The people that close early for plus 500, plus 600, they're super excited. And I get it. I've done this before. So if you've done this and I'm talking to you, it's okay, but you're gonna have to learn. You're gonna go through some hard knocks here when you see some losing weeks, okay? So just realize that right now. I'm saying it to you right now because I've gone through the same thing. Okay. So, um, what happens to a lot of folks who close for plus 600, they enjoy their weekend and it's fantastic and they're ready to go for another week, right? And maybe it's another winner, maybe it's not, but eventually you hit that losing period, right? You hit that losing period and they wonder, did the strategy stop working? Right? Because they have, maybe 2 weeks in a row of losses, and they're like, what? I thought this thing always worked, right? And it does work, but it doesn't work in the sense of like a paycheck where every Friday you're paid or every other Friday you're paid. Think of it like, just every 2 months, at the end of 2 months, you should always be positive, especially after 3 months. If you trade the strategy for 12 weeks, you're going to have losing weeks and you're going to have winning weeks in 12 weeks. And you'll have enough winning weeks if you've done it right, if you've held on to your trades till Friday, you'll have enough winning weeks that you'll cover your losses. Every 3 month period, we've always been on top. Okay. So so do that. Please just do that. And by the way, we have new people that sign up for the program every day now. Like we have new people in here all the time. Some of you are watching this on the recording and you're new. And if you've done this, again, don't take it personally. If you did close your trades early, just know that that's not okay. Okay, you do need to hold them till Friday unless they tag out through the trailing stop. All right. It's very, very important that you do that. Um, because I've had plenty of these really massive euphoric weeks where you make plus 1,000 pips, and we need them. We have to have those. If we don't get those, then when a losing week comes, it's going to wipe out everything you made, right? Because we've had weeks where you lose 300 pips, 400 pips. In fact, we did have one week in the last, 4 or 5 months, which was in July, where we lost 600 pips. Can you believe that? Strategy lost 600. That's for a lot of people, that's crazy to think that you could lose 600 pips in a week after such a good winning time. So that's why you need these profits. Okay. You got to let the wins run because you're going to have a 1,200 pip week here and there, 1,500 pip week or 1,000 pip week or whatever it's going to be. Um, and so, you need that. Okay. I'm just telling you right now, because here's what happens to a lot of folks when they do that. If they cut their trades early, they enjoy it, like I said earlier. And then the losing period comes and they wonder, did it just stop working? And then they just kind of drift away. They just kind of forget the strategy altogether, and they're like, well, it was fun while it lasted. I guess it doesn't work anymore. You know, it works, guys. It totally works. You just have to you have to follow through with this strategy. That's all I'm asking you to do. Okay. So hopefully that's very, very clear. And again, if you did close your trades early, that's okay, but not okay going forward. Just know that if you did that, that should be your one and only time you ever do that. Um, because I know sometimes how it is. Like if you're up 100 pips on a trade, it's like, oh my gosh, I just got to close this thing. Right? I definitely know that feeling. I definitely know that. Been there so many times, but I've also traded this strategy so many times that I can tell you it's worth holding. Every 400 pip win trade we've had at one point was up 100 pips. At one point it was up 50. One point it was up 200 before it made 400 pips. But how do you get to a 400 pip win on a single trade? You got to hold it. Okay, that's what's required. You have to hold those winning trades. Okay. All right, guys. So pretty cool. Let's look at some of these comments here coming in. Jill says, "Hey, Steve, can you explain how the trailing stops work? Is there a certain point it kicks in? I do not fully know." No, for sure. Yeah, we'll do that. By the way, we also did a video on Monday. Uh, the basic training video. It's on the calendar. I didn't post that one on YouTube. That one's not a YouTube video. It is on the calendar only for members. Um, so you guys can go check it out. And it's just a video where I go over how trailing stops work, what types of trailing stops there are, how to plug it in correctly, all that kind of stuff. But I'll definitely do that with you guys today too. There's no problem with that. Um, Jim says I foobarred my entries on Sunday night and they blew up, so I re-entered on Monday and now I'm up $2,200. But three of my pairs stopped out. I used the original numbers. Okay, all right. Well, that's good. I'm really glad to hear that you're up. We should definitely talk about the three other pairs because they should all be still open right now. None of them have pulled back hard enough to hit a stop loss, and all six are currently in the money. So we should definitely talk, Jim, to make sure that we get those stop losses right. By the way, for those of you that are kind of newer to the program, we have a video right here. Let me log back in. I logged out the other day. We have a video that everyone needs to watch, okay? Especially if you're new to the COT Report strategy. I did a demo back in July of me actually taking these trades. If you go to basic training videos in the members section, oh, this happens. Sometimes I have to refresh after I log in and then it'll let me through. Okay. If you go to basic training videos right here, the very last video on here, watch this video. It says, watch me take the COT trades in my prop firm account. This is a video that I made on a Sunday night where I went in during the Tokyo session and took all these trades. Everything from taking the trade, pulling up the chart on MetaTrader, to clicking the new order button, to using the lot size calculator and putting in the lot size, putting in the stop loss, and also configuring a trailing stop. That's in that video. It's about 40 minutes, and it's a video of me just taking all six trades. Okay. If you haven't seen that video yet, watch it, scrutinize it, study it, because that's exactly how you're supposed to take these COT trades every weekend. Okay. But yeah, that's good. Oh, here we go. Roger says just passed a phase one and closed. Should I get it right back in for phase two? Heck yeah. Congratulations, Roger. That's awesome. Yeah, so that's the way. Yep, exactly. You got it right. So, Roger, congrats. Go ahead and uh, if you pass phase one, they should send you the credentials for phase two right away. Feel free to re-enter those trades. Here's what you do. If you've passed phase one, what you do is you take your you just get your new account and you act as if it's Sunday again. So you don't need to move your trailing stops or move your stop loss. You just get right back into the same trades. Okay. Um, yeah, right back in. So it's just Wednesday. So act as if that's account. Act as act as if it's still Sunday and you're taking those trades Sunday night. Just do the same thing. Okay. Um, Yeah, no, I mean, just plug in your lot size calculator, use your trailing stop and stop loss. You don't need to adjust because the markets have moved up on the week already. Just put them in how you'd normally do it if it were Sunday at market. Okay. That's all I'm saying. And then just close Friday, right? Just like normal, and then take your next batch of trades next week. But that's awesome and well deserving, Roger. Congrats. Um, that's super exciting. 30 days it took Roger to do that. That's awesome. Nice. Kurt's going to start his 100K challenge minimum on this weekend. That's awesome. Okay, so if you made $100 each on the Kiwi, pound dollar, pound yen, Jim, that means I think we need to work on your trailing stop. So we can chat, but if you haven't seen this video yet, I would watch it, maybe rewatch it if you have, at least the part where I'm putting in the trailing stop, because that's where I've seen people kind of mess up the most is putting in the stop loss and the trailing stop. Um, and that's why I made that video is just to help people with that part. But otherwise, good job. Nice work. Again, nice work, Roger. Um, Brooke says, I'm in the process of a bit of a comeback, was down 3.2% on Sunday, now up 2.3. Nice. Nice work, guys. That's awesome. Also, one other side note, just to make sure everything's clear on this, when you have a really good week with the COT report, like right now, um, a lot of people tend to want to mortgage their house and put all their money into it. Please don't do that, right? Please don't do that. I all I ask is that you just continue to trade it like normal because it's a long-term strategy. It takes some grit sometimes when you're having a losing period. Obviously, it's super exciting right now, but we have webinars that are just the opposite of this, okay? Where you're down, and when you're down, it's not that fun. We come here and it's kind of a drag, okay? And we have to find other ways to keep us positive during those times, okay? So um so don't go out there and like what I'm saying is don't go out there and plan to mortgage your house, buy 10 prop firm challenges because you know this works now. Do what you feel comfortable doing and what you would, and the key is do what you would be comfortable doing even if you ran into a losing period. That happened to a lot of us in June. For those of you that are especially new, like you signed up in the last week, 2, 3 weeks, okay? Back in June, we had an insane month, way better than August, by the way. August has been good. August has been pretty good. But June was like an unreal amount of money. Okay. Everybody just made insane amounts. I had 3 funded accounts that I traded all at 200 grand each. I made $90,000 in June. Okay. It was insane. It was just absolutely insane. Now, in July, I lost about $27,000. It was not fun. It was not fun at all. Okay. Now, also to add to that, in July, because we had come off of such a great June, a lot of us, including myself, went out and bought multiple prop firm challenges because we're like, oh, obviously this works. So I'm going to go out and buy tons of prop firms. Okay. Then July was not a fun month. It was the worst month we've had this year. Now, even so, I lost about 5% of my account in July coming from, I mean, in June, I made 16%. So great June, bad July. August has been pretty good. I'd say our August at this point now has been better than our like I can't remember, but I think I'm up like 8 or 9% so far in August versus the 5% that I lost in July. So it's definitely been a better August. But but I want to make sure that's really clear. So a lot of times when we're coming off of a really good win, we want to double down because we have this fear of missing out. If you just were trading this on a demo account, you're kicking yourself because you wanted to do it on a live account, right? I know those feelings. I'm totally with you. All I'm asking is do what you would normally do next week. So when you get the new batch next week and we close these trades for profit, um, if your plan was to start a 200K challenge, do a 200K challenge. And if you can stay with that, even if September's not a good month, then great. But what I see happen a lot is somebody will go start like a 500K challenge or $1 million challenge, and they'll spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a challenge. And then they hit some losing weeks and they see that $1 million challenge is down a normal 30K, 40K. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm down $40,000 on $1 million challenge, right? Um, this is crazy. This is a scam, right? You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying you have to do what you're comfortable with. So we're feeling really good right now, but just know that anyway, I see it happen time and time again. So please just do what you would normally do. You know, if your plan was to start a challenge, and start your challenge, but don't go start 10 challenges, because I'm telling you, if you hit a losing period with 10 challenges, um, you're you're gonna forget that we even had some wins a month ago, right? Anyway, that's all. That's my thought there. I just want to make sure I put it on the recording so that you guys are aware. Um, um, just because I've been through that many times and I've seen it many times. Okay, cool. So we're doing pretty good right there. Any other questions? And again, congrats to Roger and anybody else that's pretty close to passing their challenges. If you do get funded this week, text me, let me know. Um, I love it if you guys would send me like a picture of yourself with your prompt firm certificate that just says that you passed, or if you don't want to send a picture of yourself, that's fine. Maybe send me a picture of that you passed your challenge. If you want to, you don't have to, but that's really exciting. Okay, guys, so let's shift gears now. Let's jump into price action trading and sentiment stuff. Sentiment's been kind of interesting. Let's actually go take a look at that real quick. So when you look at the sentiment index, a lot of stuff is actually kind of flipped on us. We've seen a lot of currency pairs just kind of flip. Um, like there's not a lot of currency pairs that has a bias over 70% right now, or excuse me, over 80. Everything's kind of in between 50, 60, 70% bias. Although some of these pairs like the CAD franc is still extremely long, the NZD franc is still long right now, the Aussie franc is still long. So some of those are still looking good. Um, and could line up for a really good setup here. But a lot of these other ones, yeah, I'm not seeing anything over 80. Okay, here's the USD CAD still over 80%. But it's even pulled back too from its bias. So sentiments, it's been interesting. COT's been doing really, really well. My sentiment trades have suffered just a little bit recently because there's been some pullbacks as far as sentiment goes. This one's still over 85%. The franc yen is. It's actually kind of nice to have a strategy that works well, and then maybe the other one's kind of like offsetting that. Okay, so here is our Aussie franc. This is the trade that you and I took yesterday. It's been kind of all over the place, right? So we took a limit order. Um, we took a limit order to sell the Aussie franc right here. And it actually triggered right here this morning, pulled back nicely, and then it came back up, and now it's pulled back nicely again, which is good. So we're actually in the money a little bit on this trade, and I'm actually really, really grateful the way we set this trade up. Um, I'm not sure who recommended it, or maybe we all did. We talked about how we wanted to include this wick. Was that you, Brooks, that brought that up, that we should include that wicks? Because that was a great idea, because obviously um, it went a little higher than maybe we had hoped. So that's good, so that we got a little bit of a better entry on this. And fortunately, we didn't stop out. There was still, we still had like 8 or 9 pips of room before you would have stopped out. And right now, we're up like 6, 7 pips right now on this. So it looks good. And here's why it looks good, guys. So we're coming up to liquidity. You can see it slowing down right through here. You can see the slowdown. Um, the slowing momentum, it's not as robust as it was back over here, this move to the upside. And then the other thing that you guys already know is when you look at the Aussie franc, as far as sentiment goes, it's still 91% biased to the long side and only 9% short. So we know that there's a lot of traders who are still trapped in here who are going to need to exit their position. And a lot of them have actually done that recently. They've been smart to use this move, but they're still not done. So I'm still anticipating a pretty sharp move to the downside on the Aussie franc. We could definitely see it come down here and get the full 1-to-3 risk to reward ratio that we're hoping for. Could it go above this? Yeah. Like where could it go? I'm not totally sure how far this could go. Let's pull up those order block indicators. Yeah, there's just a bunch of liquidity through here, and we already knew that, but there is a little bit above that as well. So, part of me is like, maybe we should still increase that stop, but I hate to do it, especially if it's starting to work out right now, then maybe we leave it alone. I think maybe that's smart to leave it alone from here. Anyway, yeah, I don't really have much to update other than, so far so good. It's not a huge trade. I mean, when you compare this to the COT report, you're like, wow, we're only up 6 or 7 pips on this trade. And then you've got the COT trades that are up almost 600 pips, right? So, oh, that was you, Brooks. Yeah, nice, awesome. Yeah, I think I remember you saying that, and that was really, really smart that we included that right there. So yeah, we just let it continue to go. Nothing really to update, just, you know, nice little sentiment setup. And again, one of the reasons why we picked this area was, and here's how you kind of figure liquidity, guys. If for those of you that are kind of new to the liquidity concept, what you do is you go back in the market and you find these big moves. Okay, so like right here, this is a really big move. Okay, this is a pretty solid move. You want to find moves where it's just solid candlesticks pushing the market a certain direction, right? Or over here, kind of a bigger move right here too, and then over here, bigger move. And whenever these moves come into play, they often break structure, right? So this broke structure over here. Um, this move broke structure, and there was some structure here that the market busted through, right? Okay. And it also broke through. Um, oh, and technically it broke it again right there, right? So what we identified was this. We just said, okay, great. So we've got this nice structure point right here, and the market broke it here and it broke it here. So because it broke it in those two places, you want to follow the market backwards from whence that uh, uh, pullback came from, that big move. Whatever started it is liquidity. So in all likelihood, whatever orders took place right up in here and also right up in here created these breaks of structures, right? So this guy right here and this guy right here was created by whatever orders took place in here and also whatever took place in here. Okay. And that's liquidity. So often the market will reverse at liquidity zones like that. And that's exactly what we're seeing right now. Is the market every time it's tapped into this area this morning or last night, and then also this morning, and then again this morning, every time it comes in here, it just pulls back. Why is that? Because we did our homework and we found liquidity in this area. I hope that makes sense for those of you that are kind of newer to this price action concept. Um, but it's pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. And we coupled that signal with sentiment. So we knew that there was there's selling pressure coming in. So we took that analysis, that price action analysis, and coupled it with sentiment, and that's how we're able to find this trade opportunity. So all we do now is just hold the position. Hopefully it works out. I'm really hoping this thing just kind of falls apart. Um, that's what I'm hoping for, is just a major sell off here. It's kind of due. It's a little overdue actually. So that's all we can do on that one. Okay, let's look at the other price action trade we have open, which is the USD CAD. Let's see. Brooks says, would you hold that USD CAD? Oh, you're still in it, hasn't hit your stop loss. For me, it's hit the stop loss. This one unfortunately didn't work. Maybe you had your stop loss down here, um, and that's fine. But for me, I think this trade, I'm done with this, to be honest. Um, the dollar's kind of weakened here. You can see this trend line right through here, and the trend line broke. So at this point, I'm not interested in continuing this because it's broken several structure points. It broke this point right here, and it also broke this trend line right here. And to me, as soon as that took place, there's no reason to be a buyer anymore. So I'm done with that USD CAD. I lost, how many pips did I lose on this trade? Looks like 38 pips I lost on this one. It's unfortunate, but I mean, you can't win every single trade, right? Um, I kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen, and the reason why I had a feeling it was because the COT trades had a short dollar bias. If you buy euro against dollar, that means you're shorting the dollar. If you buy pounds against dollar, that means you're shorting the dollar. If you buy the Kiwi against the dollar, that means you're shorting the dollar. And that was the COT signal this week. And so I thought, well, if COT trades work out, then this trade's going to lose. Yeah, I said, well, and then my other thought was, well, if COT trades, um, if they don't work out, then this trade should win. So part of me was like, well, okay, we might get it's a little bit of a hedge, if you want to call it that. Um, yeah, it was kind of like a hedge against the COT trades. And obviously the COT trades have worked out, so this one ended up losing. Um, yeah, so anyway, that's all you can do. And for me, again, if your stop hits on these trades, it's like the COT report, don't re-enter. Don't try to fight these trades if it's not going to work. Okay, that's how we stay in business, guys. Have you noticed that when we take our trades, most COT weeks where we win, they're pretty dang big COT weeks, right? And when we win on price action trades, the wins can be pretty dang big as well. But we also have to kind of force ourselves to take more losses. Like we have definitely more smaller losers as a result, but that's the way to go forward. The way I used to trade this, guys, when I would say as a adolescent trader, right? I used to have stop losses that looked like this. I would pull these stop losses out like this, and I'd be like, yeah, see, market, try to hit my stop loss. Let's, you know, and eventually it would hit and you'd lose a ton of money doing that. So for me, I'd much rather be very specific about my entry. And if it ends up losing with a very specific entry, then we just let it lose. Um, yeah, it's nothing else. I mean, I don't know what I would have done differently, guys. This was a good setup. So I almost don't deny it because if I saw this setup again, I probably would have taken it. It just ran out of gas. This trend, that's all it did. Just ran out of gas and it's flipping the other way. So I'm not interested in getting back in. So we're done with that one. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This was kind of, in a way, it was like a hedge against the COT trades. I didn't set it up because of that. I just thought, okay, well, this is generally a setup I would take anyway. I'll take it, but it's kind of nice that, maybe we've got a hedge against COT just in case COT didn't work out. But COT, as you know, has worked out very well this week. Okay, let's see. Other questions. Okay, so now we can just spend some time looking at some other trades. If you guys see some setups that you want me to look at, just text me though, or just send those in the chat box and we can take a look. By the way, before I do this, I just want to remind everybody of our schedule today. So we've got a pretty good lineup of webinars. If you go to the calendar, um, we've got, obviously we're in live trading right now. We have that how to pass a prop firm challenge. Tonight, we're going to do a lot of reviews on different prop firms. And so I've got a good presentation with that. And I just appreciate you guys sending me your input. I haven't responded back to everybody. I plan to do that, but I did receive a lot of people on Telegram sent me that. I haven't responded back to everybody. A lot of people sent me emails. Awesome. So we got a lot of stuff to review tonight. That'll be a great webinar to come to. If you can't come, it is recorded. And then obviously tonight we have COT Report right after, and that will be at 9 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys. Cool. We can take a look at gold. Yeah, for sure. In fact, let's take a look at sentiment first. So gold right now is 84% short, 16% long. So real quickly, guys, if you see that where something's biased one way like that, if most people are short, what does that tell you about gold? Which way is gold going? Without looking at the chart, if you haven't seen the chart yet, when you look at that information, which way has gold been going in the last couple of days then? I haven't even looked at it. I can just tell you what it looks like just by reading that. Does anybody want to take a stab at it in the chat box? What do you think? What direction do you think that gold's been going if most people are short? If most people are short, it's probably going up. Exactly, Brooks. Yeah, it's probably going up. Let's go take a look. I'm not saying it is, but let's go take a look. Boom. Yeah, it's definitely going up, right? So, yeah, if most people are selling, then it's probably going up. Why do people do that, by the way? Why do retail traders do that? It's because retail traders, what they do is they want to try to find the top of the market and the bottom of the market. And so they feel like if they sell at a perceived high price, then they're selling at the top, but they're not always right. In fact, they're mostly wrong. So it would have been easy as a retail trader to say, oh, this looks like a high price right here. I'll sell there. And they put a sell right there and then it goes up a little higher and they're like, oh, I'll sell again because that might be the top. Oh, that's not the top. I'll sell again. So they just keep on selling as it continues even higher, and it's a terrible way to trade. I used to trade that way. It's just terrible, right? So when you look at gold, and you've got a bias like that, you want to look for liquidity zones that you can also where you can continue that trend. So you can use things like the order block indicators that we have to try to find those zones. So it looks like there's a little something in here that you could use. If the market pulled it back into there, that might not be bad. In here, it looks like there's something, and there's definitely an area right here worth looking at. So those would be your areas where you'd want to potentially get into a buy if you got into the if the market got into that, right? Okay. Um, I don't see a lot of setups that I'm really interested in, to be honest. But I mean, it's definitely biased right now. Um, I don't trade a lot of gold either, but if you want to, you totally can. I mean, I would not be selling right now for sure. No way I'd be selling. Um, no, that's terrible idea, I think. So, but yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. This one's obvious to see. Like that's your liquidity zone right there. That's probably a good place to maybe buy if you trade gold. Um, you could get in right here. That's another good area right through here. Maybe extend that just a little bit. That's not a bad area. You might even get a little bit of something like right here, right at that old resistance zone. Might be a good area. Oh, interesting. Oh, it was over 90% earlier. Yeah, I wonder if that's changed a little bit. That's interesting. Okay, well, let's look at some other currency pairs. And I'm just what I'm typically looking for is either a break of structure or a trend line break in structure. We already have this trade going on. Um, like here's one on the Aussie dollar, Aussie yen. That trade's over now, but you had a little bit of a break right here. Once that happened, you want to look for pullbacks like this and then ride it up after it breaks. We can almost trade that USD CAD. We might even look at that one the other way. We might actually go selling now the USD CAD instead of buying. We'll get to that in just a minute. Oops, I didn't want to do that. There we go. Okay, here's the Aussie dollar. Dang, that's too bad I missed this one. This is classic. This is exactly what you want to see. So you've got a nice trend line here. And again, what's a trend line? It's at least 3 points of engagement, right? Once you have 3 points of engagement, you have a trend line. Then you had your break of structure right here. Okay. And then once you have your BOS, all you need to do is just get a pullback back to liquidity or support, and then it's off to the races. So that one was really nice. Too bad I missed that one. I usually look on an hourly chart, by the way, for those of you that would be curious. Um, that seems to be where I take the best trades as far as price action goes. I used to trade price action a lot more aggressively on a 15-minute, but one of the problems I have with the 15-minute is a lot of the setups trigger during rollover, and you'll miss the trade entirely or you'll get stopped out because the spreads are wide. So that's why I kind of like the higher time frame, like the hourly. If you trade the hourly, you can still take really good trades on the week, but your stop losses will be big enough that you'll overcome a rollover, and the markets usually will try to go to those liquidity zones. Um, and it's not just dependent upon a a spread or something like that, like on a 5-minute or a 15-minute chart would require. So anyway, here's another cool one. Another break of structure right through here. And this was kind of cool. Again, what's required of this? You need at least 3 points of engagement. You've got one there, two, three, and then you've got a fourth. Actually, you've got five. One, two, three, four, and then 5 points of engagement. And then you got your BOS right here, your break of structure. And then all you got to do from there is just look for a pullback into a liquidity zone like this one did, and then it's just off to the races. Pretty cool. That was pretty good. Again, I just scan them. If I don't see what I'm looking for, I just quit it and I just move on to the next one. Um, I'm just trying to find exactly what I want to find. And if it doesn't have what I want, I just move on to the next pair. Look at that euro, guys. Isn't that pretty cool? We caught that move this week. It's pretty cool, isn't it? And the banks knew something. They knew something about this. And guys, just so you know, I totally could see the euro not finishing here. It's just Wednesday. There is an untapped liquidity zone on the euro right here. Look at that. See that zone right there? That one is untapped. See this break is so you had a structure point right through here. Okay, this is structure on the euro dollar, right? Just on a side note, just we're using the same skills, but to for the COT report now, right? So so that's a nice structure point. Look at the market, broke structure right here. Okay, there's your BOS. What created that break of structure? Oh, it's whatever took place inside of this consolidation. Whatever happened in here ultimately created this robust move, right? See that huge move? Whatever that is was created by whatever happened in here. So we know that that's untapped liquidity. So, and the euro hasn't even gotten to that yet, right? That's still another, from the current price, that's still another 46 pips to go. So yeah, don't be closing your COT trades early. We could still see more action by the end of the week. Yeah, there's a lot to be made still if this continues to go. Okay. Um, and in fact, I almost think it's almost not guaranteed, but very high likelihood that we get there, right? I wonder if a lot of these other trades are the same way. Here's that euro yen. This one actually is breaking a new high. So who knows on this one, but it could definitely just continue higher as well. Who knows? Um, the pound yen is another one we have going on. Okay, this is good to see. So with the pound yen, this trade's been doing fantastic. It is a little bit at a liquidity zone here. But I'd say most of this liquidity is tied up in here, up at that zone, or maybe even this zone right here. So there's still some barriers the euro yen needs to break through, but I mean, this thing could easily go all the way to there by the end of the week. And how many pips is that? So that means the pound yen stands to make another 70 pips this week, right? Again, that's a lot of pips to lose if you close your COT trades early. What's another one? Oh, the NZD yen, that's another one we're in right now, right? We're in this guy. Um, oh, this is kind of interesting actually on this NZD yen trade that we're in. This again, classic setup. So it's cool we caught this trade. I didn't even see this price action setup, but this is exactly what you want to see when you're trading this, right? So you've got let's draw this up. So you've got 1 point of engagement, 2 points. Okay, that's a trend, but it hasn't been confirmed. It's confirmed on the third point, right? 3 points is what's required to make a confirmed trend. Okay. Why is that, by the way? If you just draw point A to point B, anybody can do that. A child could do that, right? But it's not as easy to get 3 points. And the reason why is because if you have 3 points of engagement for a trend line, then whatever the slope of point A and point B is, um, it's a true slope if you can get that third point, because that third point means that it is actually there's something rhythmic happening in the market that likes that slope. But if you're just doing point A to point B, I can draw that anywhere, and who knows if that's a valid point that the market actually regards. But if you get that third one, then it is actually confirmed, right? Um, okay, so here's the Kiwi dollar. And this is kind of cool because you have that BOS, break of structure, right here. And pretty much as soon as that happened, it was just off to the races. We did capture this, obviously, through the COT report, just not as a price action trade setup. But this one could continue to go, guys. Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying it will, but there's untapped liquidity up in this area, and there's one right up in here. Let's use those order block indicators to confirm that. Not sure where I put them. Maybe I deleted them. Yeah, I'm not sure where my order block indicators went, guys, but that's funny actually. It doesn't matter. I know how to find it, but maybe I deleted them earlier on accident. I don't know. Okay, so there's that. Anyway, let's go back. We left off on the euro dollar, looking for price action setups. Um, but yeah, that again with that euro dollar, we could definitely see that continue even higher. So be careful to cut your trades early. I wouldn't do that. Okay, let's zoom in and continue our search. Okay, so here you go. Here's the pound franc. And you've got a nice little trend right there. That's good. Okay, this is cool. We'll take it. If you wanted to just go on the wicks, I guess you could go just wicks only. You could do something like that. But I think it might be better to go on the bodies even. Let's do something like this. There we go. Okay. So here's the pound franc. You've got 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? And then you've got a break of structure right here. So now you just got to find liquidity. which it appears that there's liquidity right through here that we could use. But let's double check. I do want to get those indicators back. I'm not sure what I did with them. I'll just grab them again. So you just search Sonar Lab, order blocks with signals. And this one doesn't have any necessarily where we're looking, but let's try some of these other ones like Smart Money. Well, what did I do with them? I'm actually here. I'm gonna refresh. Maybe I'll leave it and come back. I am not sure what's going on here. Okay. Oh, there they are. They're up there. Delete panel or collapse. Okay, let's just delete it. Okay, Smart Money. And let's go back to the pound franc. Okay, Smart Money doesn't have any order blocks on the 1 hour right here. Let's try the order block detector and see if that one has anything. That's interesting. It doesn't. I thought this area would have liquidity in it. I'm kind of surprised. I'm going to try a 15-minute chart. No, that doesn't have anything. Smart Money does have two solid ones right here on the 15-minute. Let's try a 30. Let's see if it continues to stand out. No, it doesn't. So that's kind of interesting. That doesn't mean you can't use it. It's just something you may want to take a double take or look into it a little bit more if you don't have more order blocks. Because I thought I was going to get several order blocks right in here. And I do on a 15-minute. So they're saying that this is a good order block zone, which might be worth using. Let's try. I'm just curious. What does the 5-minute do? It's just scattered everywhere. Okay, on the 5-minute. So we might want to consider this a little bit more, like maybe scrutinize this a little bit more since we don't have a clear, concise order blocks through this area. And I'm willing to look at some other trades as well, but let's definitely come back to this one. So make a mental note to come back to the pound franc because that one's actually not too bad. Yeah, that's what you want to see right there. Breaking structure. And we caught this already. Pound dollar. This is something you and I already traded. Okay. Oh yeah, here's that NZD franc short. I still have this trade going on right now on the NZD. Oh, you asked about that, Brooks. Yeah, I still have this trade going on. Um, I'm still shorting this one just because, again, if you look at the sentiment index, most traders are, yeah, 92% of traders are still long on the NZD franc. So a short is coming soon because all those long traders need to get out of their position. So yeah, I'm still shorting this. And so far so good, but um, it may make another high before it comes down. We'll see. Okay, we already looked at that one. We already looked at Kiwi dollar. Oh yeah, we were gonna look at this USD CAD, weren't we, as another opportunity in the other direction, weren't we? So let's look at this. So with the USD CAD, this has had a trend for a while. You can see that this trend was going on right here. You have at least 3 points of engagement. You've got 1, 2, 3 right? So that counts as a trend line. And then you have your BOS right here. So it broke its structure. And now we got to follow this market back. Like, what's the liquidity that created this break of structure? Well, you have a couple of areas. There's obviously some selling pressure that you'll probably run into right here, but I'd say this area is pretty solid right through here, something like that. And let's see if these order block indicators. So order block detector has one right there. You can see it right in the middle of that purple area I drew out. And then smart money does have one right there on the hourly. It's still not a ton, but yeah, we do have selling pressure. Let's try 30 minute. 30 minute does have order blocks in those areas we talked about. How about a 15 minute? 15 minute, wow, really lights up this area a lot. So 15-minute likes this, and I'm also going to include that. So I might be willing to do something like this. I actually like this trade a lot going the other way. Um, yeah, I like let's close these down. What I like is the fact that like this thing was so long for so long, and then all of a sudden they're just like, never mind, we're going south. So I do believe that if the market came back up into here, into this general supply zone, we should get a nice move to the downside. So what I would be expecting is something like this, where it comes up into supply and then you get your collapse, right? Something like that is kind of what you'd be hoping for. Would I like to see it break support zone first? Yeah, yeah, potentially. So you're probably talking about this right here, right? So if it broke through that, here's the thing: if it breaks that, I don't even know if it'll get back up to the supply zone because it's so bearish. Um, we've seen that happen before. We've talked about that concept before. So, however aggressively something breaks through structures is kind of indicative of how much of a pullback you're going to get. So with this one, it's actually been pretty aggressive. Uh, this has been pretty violent, how quickly this pulled back from up here. And it did not spend a lot of time flirting with his trend line here. He was just like, I'm going to kiss you and see you, right? He was gone very quickly. Um, and so the way I see this is it's pretty dang bearish. Um, and so I do feel some comfort selling in this area, probably enough to take the trade. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, just something anyway. But I see what you're saying. If it broke, let's say it breaks this trend line that you're or this support you're talking about. If it breaks that, I don't even think you're going to get back up to this purple area because it's too far at that point. So you may not even get tripped in. But yeah, you could do that definitely. I think it's still worth taking. I actually like this one it probably more than even the pound franc, just because I like it's the it's been aggressive and it's more defined and it's happening as we speak. It's you've got untapped liquidity right here. It's never been touched. And same thing with this area up here. I don't know if I'll use that one, but this area has never been touched yet, and it's recent. So we're kind of at the cutting edge of an opportunity here on this USD CAD. Yeah, yeah, that looks good. So I think I'm going to post that one, guys. Yeah, and I got to wrap up. I didn't realize we're already going to go overtime here, but let me go ahead and post this. Oh, yeah, I got to place the trade first. Sorry. So sell limit right here at liquidity, at the start of liquidity. You could wait for it to go a little higher if you wanted, but that's what we're going to do. Stop out there. We want to at least get a 3-to-1, and I think that puts us pretty close to a lot of this demand down here. Actually, we could even go just a little further, probably. Something like that would be perfect. Okay, we'll see if this one triggers. Again, we don't even know if it will, but it's a good setup nonetheless. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Okay, cool. Just posting that right now. Yeah, that looks good. I like it. All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap up right now. Appreciate your attendance. Again, we have webinars tonight. So we have how to pass a prop firm at 8 p.m. Eastern and then COT report at 9 p.m. Eastern. So, all right, guys. Appreciate your attendance. Thanks for coming. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you guys in the next webinar. Thanks for coming.